Hey, here's a Scientific American, triple helix, designing a new molecule. You didn't even know your double helix is outdated, did you? Here we sit, Ford Pintos, Chevy Chevettes, not even aware that our benevolent overlords are working overtime to upgrade all of us, at least to Cadillacs, if not Rolls-Royce altogether. Here's Christianity today. The techno-sapiens are coming. When God fashioned man and woman, he called his creation very good. Transhumanists say that by manipulating our bodies with microscopic tools, we can do better. Are we ready for the great debate? Well, the techno-sapiens are coming, but when are they going to be here? Only 2 weeks ago at MIT, the famous Massachusetts Institute of Technology's MTech conference, we were told, get ready now for a new human species. Here's an excerpt from the article. The ability to engineer life is going to spark a revolution. That's the hybrid age revolution, the new revolution that will dwarf the industrial and digital revolutions, drop down to the bottom, because we can engineer our environment and ourselves. Humanity is moving beyond the constraints of Darwinian evolution, and the result may be an entirely new species. Here's New Scientist magazine agreeing with the new species of man, and in this article, Evolution Machine, Genetic Engineering on Fast Forward, they are talking about some of the instruments that are being used to move us towards our post-human future, including gene sequencing machines. And they're talking here about how the technology is becoming much more affordable. The machines are becoming much more powerful. Notice under that little italicized, right under that line, that little italicized opening remark, automated genetic tinkering is just the start. This machine could be used to rewrite the language of life and create new species of humans. And notice that interesting graphic they created where it's got the double helix coil, the human coil, going into the machine, and at the top being spat out all kinds of alien green, wonderful forms of new humanity mixed up with all kinds of other stuff. Well, among the thousands of laboratories around the world where creators have been honing these skills towards our post-human future, human-animal chimera research has been a very important model. I want to talk about this news story here for just a moment. First, notice that this is Reuters news. I want you to know that this is not Weekly World News when you see what they're talking about here. I don't want you to think I grabbed this from the tabloid section as I was exiting that supercenter. Reuters News, and look at this headline. Scientists want debate on animals with human genes. But look at this first paragraph. A mouse that can speak, a monkey with Down's syndrome, dogs with human hands or feet. British scientists want to know if such experiments are acceptable or if they go too far in the name of medical research. Now, please note that this article was published 24 months ago. Why would I include this article with these more recent statements that are being put forward? You'll understand that in a moment. And let me give you just a very quick background to this. This article was an interview with scientists in Britain who had been doing research into human-animal chimera creation. Now, why would the pharmaceutical industry have an interest in creating a part human, part animal at the embryonic level? And you should know, because this is mostly what's driving a lot of both stem cell and human-animal chimera research. It's really quite simple. It's because it is a daunting task for pharmaceutical corporations, monster corporations, to get permissions to do human trials with new drug therapies. And they have the potential of making untold amounts of money. And how many know that when it comes to the giant corporations, it's really all about money? It's not about ethics, it's about money most of the time. Well, they stand to make trillions of dollars as we move into the future with new drug therapies. And one way to test a new drug therapy against human enzymes is to create a part human, part animal, or a part animal with human enzymes that then allows them to bypass the human trial requirements, the daunting task of getting permission to do so, and now they can test their drug therapy to see if that part of the human genetics in that animal is responding in a particular way. Okay, so this is what these scientists were doing. Human-animal chimera research in Britain, and they went to the government of Britain, and they wanted to know if they could have access to public funds, tax dollars, to fund their research into this. Well, people in Britain started finding out about it, and especially among the pro-life community, there were those who did not like the idea that their money would be used to create a part human, part animal that then would be experimented on and then killed. That might be okay with some of us. No, I don't think so. Well, it wasn't okay with them either. And so what happened was there was kind of an uproar. And so the government of Britain decided to host what they called the embryology discussions, which was kind of an open forum in which they invited in all kinds of disciplines, scientists, bioethicists, even members of the clergy. And get this, the Vatican sent 2 bishops to testify during the embryology discussions, and one of the Vatican's spokesmen said that if a woman participated in these experiments by providing egg or ovum and then later developed a crisis of conscience and wanted to raise this part human, part animal as her child, she ought to have the right to do so. That was the advice from the bishop from the Vatican. Well, in any case, the embryology discussions came to an end, and then the government of Britain began doling out tax dollars to these scientists on a case-by-case basis for the creation of human-animal chimeras. All right, now, fast forward 24 months ago, and that's where this interview came in. The same scientists were back now, and they wanted to know, would it be okay if we take the next step? Can we now start raising these half-humans, half-animals to full maturity? Can we start raising islands of Dr. Moreau and doing long-term experiments on creatures that are part human and part animal? The other thing that this article was very interesting in is that the scientists admitted that they are satisfied, okay with 50-50 integration of humans and animals. Because most people have been led to believe, especially in the stem cell sciences, that the amount of human material in one of these creatures is so minute as to be inexcusable. And what these scientists admitted was they were okay with fully 50-50 integration between humans and animals, and furthermore they imply in this article that some of their colleagues were already pushing the boundaries anyway and raising these things to full maturity. Well, is that the case? Just last month, so that was 24 months ago, now just in the last month, the Academy of Medical Sciences in Britain admitted that such science is advancing so quickly that an international regulatory commission is needed to oversee the creation of mature human-animal chimeras. But look at this graphic they created here. On the right-hand side is what appears to be a microscope lens. And what is depicted is all known forms of life from animals, pigs, dogs, donkeys, fish, whatever. And notice the little line going over and integrating that genetic makeup in the man that is standing there in the middle wrapped in the double helix coil. Out of the back of the man with the double helix coil, it goes back into animals. And as you begin reading this report, you come to understand that this graphic depicts the fact that they are acknowledging, first of all, that experiments are happening around the world at breakneck pace in which we are integrating humans with animal genetics and animals with human genetics. And this genie, ladies and gentlemen, is out of the bottle. This is actually a portion of the summary that says, this report considers research that involves the introduction of human DNA sequence into animals or the mixing of human and animal cells or tissues to create entities we refer to as animals containing human material. Oh, by the way, in the Old Testament, these were called Nephilim, Gibborim. They had other names for what ultimately wound up being fantasized in Greek mythology, but that science was occurring. Such approaches, I'm back to quoting now, such approaches are long established and thousands of different ACHM. This is a terrific admission, by the way, on the part of the Academy of Medical Sciences out of Britain. Thousands of different ACHM have been used in biomedical research, yet they have received relatively little public discussion. Now, what type of creature creations are they talking about? These bullet points on here are actual exact extracts from this report, even the part that's in red, which I've only highlighted to point out to you. Note, number one, extensive modification of the brain of an animal by implantation of human-derived cells, which might result in altered cognitive capacity approaching human consciousness or sentience or human-like behavioral capabilities. Number two, situations. Look at this, where functioning human gametes. Ladies and gentlemen, we're talking about fertilized cells that can fertilize, gametes. Eggs and sperm might develop from precursor cell types in an animal, and where fertilization between human and animal gametes might then occur. We're talking about the creation of species that can reproduce with humans. Number three, cellular or genetic modification, which could result in animals with aspects of human-like appearance, skin type, limb or facial structure, or characteristics such as speech. Really? I mean, is this science really going on all around the world? One day after the Academy of Medical Sciences published their report, the Mail Online reported on only 2 of the tens of thousands of laboratories that are in Britain that are involved in this research, and in only 2 of them, 150 human-animal hybrids had been grown in UK labs. But ladies and gentlemen, it isn't just in Britain. The United States published its own similar report, beating the United Kingdom by 20 years. And in their 1982 report, Splicing Life, the United States President's Commission for the Study of Ethical Problems in Medicine and Biomedical and Behavioral Research looked at the social and ethical issues of genetic engineering with human beings, including interfacing humans with nature and animal, as well as combining man with new forms of life. They were actually back then imagining synthetic biology, which of course the J. Craig Venter Foundation has since accomplished, integrating man with synthetic forms of life. The report imagined that the dawn of this science would occur within 10 to 20 years. Now, why did I put down there how prophetic? Well, you're going to find out in a few moments. Because report after report from the government, this was published in '82, they imagined within 10 to 20 years, which would take us approximately to where we are now, or sometime around, in and around the year 2012. A date that continues to show up in government report after government report telling us that any time after the year 2012, the first baby steps will be established that will ultimately lead to a new form of life. A new form of human will emerge upon the earth. Hang on to that thought for a moment. All is well, though, because at Emory University just last month, Rabbi Michael Broidy stepped forward to argue that Jewish law will support such animalized humans so long as it produces superior people.